Hi, this is Darren from SimNation. Just doing another video on Draft Day Sports College Football 2025 from Wolverine Studios. I will say Draft Day Sports College Football 2025 has been a little bit of a journey so far. Um, there have been a couple more bugs than what we normally would see, but still hats off to Brooks and Gary. They've dealt with the bugs quickly and timely. And a lot of these seem to have hit more the online leagues. But this is what happens when you adopt a game in the first week or two of it coming out. So I want to continue the Zero to Hero video series. This one's going to focus more on roster, meaning who do I keep, who do I don't keep. For those who are not familiar with Zero to Hero, it's where I take a team that is historically bad. In this case, it's Notre Dame. As you can see, they've been historically bad. And they also have a pretty bad roster, which you'll see in a second. And I try to transform them from essentially a really bad team into a really good team. They generally I focus on teams with prestige less than 50 who have had losing seasons over the last 3 years. Just a quick recap: I've only successfully taken a team to the playoffs once in the format I use now, which is I take the team over at the season flip. I get to do the staff hiring, kind of the garbage or bargain recruiting, which is the recruiting after the season where there aren't many good players left, and mostly it's transfers in that case. And then I try to guide them to the playoffs in that season. In the past, I did do one where I took them over at the beginning of a season, went through the whole season where I was able to recruit, and then took them into the next season with the goal of by the next season taking them to the playoffs. And I was very successful with that with Texas Tech. So again, this is Notre Dame. Quick thing, I am looking to get some coaches and other things, and I'll have to look. But real quick, the only reason why I'm showing you the staff screen is I'm going to run a West Coast hybrid. I'm going to run a 4-3 hybrid. So what that really means in essence is I'm going to prioritize from a quarterback accuracy over arm. My running backs have to have some speed. They have to have decent agility and decent hands because they're going to catch out of the backfield. My wide receivers, I'm going to prioritize. Speed is always important, but I am going to prioritize agility and hands because it's going to be shorter routes, which agility plays more than speed. Offensive line is going to focus more on pass blocking than run blocking. And then on defense with a 4-3 hybrid, I want to have a defensive line that is strong, especially in the middle with the defensive tackles, and then can rely on speed on the outside because I'm only going to have 3 linebackers. They got to be versatile. So I can't get away with putting really good run blockers in the middle who prioritize strength and agility over speed and hands and tackling. In this case, I'm going to really need to have linebackers that can do it all. Generally, 4-3 hybrids or zone. I'm not going to play a lot of zone. I'm going to actually play more man press. So what that means is I'm going to need to have people have speed, agility, and hands in the secondary, and then of course my strong safety, free safety. I'm going to play them more near the line, which means that I'm going to need them to have the ability to tackle as well as be able to get into the backfield to disrupt. So let's look at the roster, and I'm just going to go through here at a high level. So if you look at my quarterbacks, maybe we'll just do this. This will be easier. Um, I don't have a lot to work with. In a West Coast offense, you want intelligence as well as skill and accuracy. In a vertical, you tend to want an arm, intelligence, and skill. I don't really have this, so I'm going to keep Hamby because he's got good speed and I can probably move him to a different position. I'm only going to keep Shaver because Shaver's the smarter of these two and he's got accuracy and he has some decent skill. Lott is pretty useless, so I'm going to get rid of him. Let's just make sure this actually is going to do what I want it to do. It didn't, but um, well, we'll just do it this way. So I'm going to release him. Goodbye, Lott. Running back, you're going to notice real quickly, they don't have good hands and they don't really have good agility. So, and they're not smart, and in most cases, they're not skilled. So I'm going to keep Fleming as a, I'm going to kind of keep Fleming as an insurance policy. I'm going to get rid of Mackey. Chambliss is going to move. I'm not going to do that right now. Based on his skill sets, he would make a decent corner. So I'm going to move him to corner because I need to put speed there. Um, Fullbacks, this guy's pretty decent. He's going to move, which means I'm going to keep Bello as an insurance policy. He'll likely move to corner as well because tackling doesn't matter as much. He can't be a safety for me. Now, you could say that I could keep him and just go ahead and have him be a run blocker, but he lacks the strength for that. With run blocking strength, you generally want people in the mid 60s to high 70s. He's got good speed. He's got good blocking. I could make him a tight end actually, but what I worry about is his hands and his agility, and he's dumb as a brick and has no skill. So let's just move past him. My tight ends outside of Mullen are pretty bad. So Anderson isn't horrible, so I'll probably keep him only because he has 74 agility. He is somewhat intelligent. Um, but the reality is, of the two, I probably should keep Schumacher. So I'm going to get rid of these guys because none of them have the speed, the hands, or the intelligence that I'm looking for. And they're too small for me to use them anywhere else, so I'm not going to. So get rid of those guys. Wide receiver, traditionally when I take a zero to hero team, I convert, if I have a lot of speed wide receivers, I convert at least half of them to cornerback or defensive back. I don't really have that here. I still want to have speed, even though it's a West Coast, which will focus more on agility. But what I'm looking for is hands and agility and skill. So Allwood is not good, so he's going bye-bye. He's okay, we'll keep him. He's okay, we'll keep him. And by the way, if you have above 75 in agility, I can make it work, especially if you have above 75 in hands. But when we look at like Flores, he's not going to work for me, so we're going to get rid of him. We're going to get rid of Pennington as well because he's not going to work. We'll keep Sadler because he's probably the best wide receiver I've got. We'll keep Stevens because he's again in that category. Willow, I could go back and forth on, but I'm going to get rid of him. And so far you can kind of see the rhyme and the reason what I'm doing. So again, I'm going to prioritize pass block over everything else. Strength isn't going to matter. Now, I am going to keep some people because from a strength perspective, what I kind of want to do is maybe move people who have strength but lack speed. Now, again, this is a guard, so speed is not as important in a West Coast offense as it is for tackles. But what I want is like K has decent strength. We'll move him to defensive tackle. So the only guy we'll get rid is Van. And again, these guys have good pass blocking. They suck at run blocking, but I've got to start somewhere, and they've got good skill. Intelligence is not great, but it's not horrible either. Agility, I kind of want agility more than I want strength for the West Coast. So you see more of that here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sort. And what we're going to look at is agility. These guys are decent. Provost isn't great, but I almost think I should move him inside. So we'll keep Provost, but move him inside. And then these guys are not really good, so I'm gonna look at this guy. So Stamper will be kept, but I'm gonna move him to defensive end. So let's just get rid of these guys. And then center, I'm looking for the same thing as pass blockers. Generally, the centers are pretty good, so I'm gonna keep all three. I don't see. I am gonna get rid of some of the punters because I have too many of them. So I prefer with punting kick distance and accuracy, so we're going to get rid of these guys. And I'm not really looking at class while I do zero to hero because I don't kill. But if I was not doing zero to hero, I would kill a lot more. Going to get rid of these guys as well. This guy's highly accurate, but he doesn't have much of leg, so we'll just go with these two because I don't want to have to worry about kicker. So again, defensive tackle here, what I'm looking for is strength. And I don't really have it. So we're going to bounce over to defensive end just to see what I got here. Don't really have it. So I'm going to be able to move some people to defensive tackle because I just don't really have much here. So Horsley I'll keep because he's got strength. Total I'll keep because he's got strength. Um, but I'm likely going to get rid of Bethel and Lumpkin. I'm going back and forth on Torres, but I'm going to get rid of Torres too. So we're just going to release them because, again, I care more about strength and tackling and speed than I do any of the other stuff. Defensive end, I do care about strength. I would prefer to have people above 75 in strength because I'm running a 4-3, but I can't really say much. So I'm going to get rid of Sparkman because I don't like him. Um, but these two will have to make do. They're not the best tacklers. They're not very. He's pretty smart, but he has bad agility. I'm just gonna have to make it work. My linebacker core, like I said, I want versatile linebackers, and guess what? I don't have is versatile linebackers. Got some good tacklers. Uh, the strength is horrible on this group. So Mayfield and Grissom need to go because less than 50 strength is just not a good linebacker. Unless he's just going to play in coverage. This guy's not horrible. In a pass, I would say move him to defensive end, but that strength is giving me pause. So we're going to get rid of Davis and Feltz as well. This guy's pretty bad too, so we'll get rid of him. So I'm only going to keep like 2 linebackers. That's going to make life a little bit harder in recruiting. Cornerback, I mentioned again, I'm looking for speed, and as you can notice, I don't have speed at all. I don't really have agility, which will allow me to run the zone. I do have these guys, but it's just bad. Okay. Hmm, this is bad. So yeah, but you. I am gonna keep Keaton. I may keep Flack. I'm gonna keep Keaton and Flack because I'm gonna put them in zone coverage. Strong safety, again, this is bad. Now, I can move this guy to linebacker, which I'm going to do, but I'm going to get rid of him. And then free safety, again, it's not great because I do need tacklers because I'm going to play them up near the line, but only one of them is really horrible. The other two I can make do with. So that's a quick way in which I do it. Now, again, as to recap, Hamby's going to likely move over to strong safety or cornerback, sorry. Running back, Chambliss is going to move to cornerback. I could play him at free safety if I wanted to. I'm going to move Poindexter to cornerback because I got to get depth. These guys are going to stay at tight end. Wide receiver, I could potentially move somebody, but I'm not going to because I need the depth. Guard, we're good there. Tackle, one of these guys I was going to move, which I think, if I remember correctly, was going to be like maybe Provost. Center, I need to make no changes. And then I'll look, so as I go back to like guard, what I'm looking for here is someone who's slow but strong. So like K is better than anything I have at defensive tackle, so he'll move to defensive tackle. And then if we look at this one as well, is I'm going to move Stamper to defensive tackle. And then not going to really move anyone there. So that's kind of how I do the roster. And again, the roster is based on what I know. So if I was running a vertical offense, I'd be looking for more speed. And then traditionally vertical, you run to the outside. So again, running backs got to be fast. But since I'm playing at West Coast, I need to put more emphasis on accuracy. So that's kind of how I go through and do the roster. The next time I do this, I will cover recruiting with how I'm going to recruit for this. And then, of course, after that, I will cover the playbooks that I'm going to use in the strategy. So hopefully you find value in this. I don't want this to be a long video, so this is just generally how I look at the roster and how I flip a roster. It starts with looking at the playbook, and then it looks at the players and what they're good at. And part of this, maybe I should do a video on what is the most important thing based on the offensive style that you're going to play. So if you play West Coast, you play vertical, inside running, outside running, those type of things. So hopefully you see value in this. If you have any questions or thoughts, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for taking your time tonight. SNCFL is running Draft Day Sports College Football 2025. We have a lot of good teams open. If you're interested, take a look at the link. It feeds into WWPF. I think we're at week 13 or something like that in the season. And the college league feeds the pro league. And then, of course, we have the two GM leagues as well. So hope you have a wonderful weekend and talk to you soon.